Hi, Francisca. Good evening to you. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, please. Good evening.
Okay, great. So we'll be starting soon. I just want to confirm people are able to join in, but it's live on YouTube, it's live on LinkedIn also. Um, yeah, so we'll just kickstart in a minute. Yeah.
No problem.
Hi, Francisca. I hope my audio and video is okay. Hi, Francisca. Are you able to hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi, Onus. Are you saying anything, please?
No. But can you hear me now?
Your voice is a bit shaky, but yes, I can.
Okay. We can get started. Is my voice clearer now?
Still shaky because I'm sure it's my network.
Okay. All right. So let's get started. Welcome everybody to today's webinar. We have an interesting topic to discuss today: partnerships that convert, turning collaborations into growth channels. And we have our sponsor brand, XC Global Limited. Um, XC Global Limited is a brand at the intersection of marketing service, marketing services, recruitment, and training. So XC Global Limited is really focused on helping startup brands recruit marketing professionals and executives, and also um, providing marketing services that startups need at different stages of their growth journey, and of course, training hires of startups such that Exit Global does not just recruit, but they train for 6 months just to make sure talents are able to integrate into the fast-paced nature of startups, which is
Hi,
usually.
Onus. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm hearing something else. I don't. Was that you?
No, you were hearing the background noise, or
Okay, so I think I can hear you now. I think there was a clash.
okay, great. So that's basically what XE Global Limited is into, providing marketing services for startup brands and helping them also recruit with the wealth of experience that they have to recruit marketing professionals and also train them for 6 months so they're able to integrate properly into the very fast and also sometimes not so structured space that startups operate in. So let's dive into the business for today. We have here on the call our lead speaker who will be taking us through this topic. And I am going to allow her introduce myself after I formally introduce myself. So my name is Onuwabhagbe Omodiagbe. I am the founder and CMO of XC Global Limited, and I have a decade of experience in marketing. In the last 6 years of my career, I've really been focused on growth marketing for fintech, Web3, and e-commerce brands, both US, UK, and Australian brands. I work across those regions, and yeah, today I will be hosting the webinar and, of course, moderating the section. But our lead speaker is Francisca. So please, Francisca, do us the honor of introducing yourself.
Okay. My name is Francisca Chamaka Udechukwu. Please, Onus, can you confirm that you can hear me clearly?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so my name is Francisca Chamaka Udechukwu. I'll just call myself a marketing professional. I've been in this space for close to 10 years, and currently I lead the brand and partnerships team for Film House Group. So today we'll definitely speak everything partnerships, collaborations, and basically how to use partnerships to drive growth and development in your various businesses. I do hope that you get value from this. I'll try my possible best to share as much as I know in this webinar. Thank you very much for joining.
Yeah, thank you so much, Francisca, for that very apt introduction. So we are going to deep dive now, and I'm just going to share our overview. So you can take it from here.
Thank you very much, Eunice. So we have varying sessions that we'll look at. We'll look at the strategic and transactional partnerships. We'll look at the value for value principle. We'll look at finding and qualifying the right partners. We'll look at building terms that work and activation, turning the deal into growth, and definitely your questions and answers. So let's just get into it. So my opening, Onus, please go ahead to share the next screen. Okay, so I'm going to say a little story. So before I took the role of brand and partnerships manager for Film House Group, I had started, doing some research, and had, started racking my brain as to how it was going to work, how it was going to be different from every other thing that I had done. And someone said to me that I should always look at partnerships as me wanting to, give value to the next person, right? And that thing stuck with me, and I was like, oh wow, okay, so that's basically how it should work, right? That partnerships should be sharing of value, right, between two persons. So you bring your own value, this person brings his or her own value, and you join it together, and then create or curate something that moves both of your businesses forward. So I'm just going to read through these quotes, which is every brand has a marketing budget. The brands that win use other brands' audiences too. A partnership proposal is not a partnership. A signed agreement is not a partnership. A partnership is what happens when two brands show up, deliver, and create something neither could have created alone. And which is where bringing value, your value, and the other business's value together, to create something that both of you could not have been able to create standing alone. I'm going to give examples as we speak, but let's just get into it. The next slide, please. So I said not all collaborations are partnerships, and I gave three different definitions. Sponsorship, you pay, they deliver exposure, transactional, and it is time bound. So we do a lot of it here in the Nigerian front, where brands easily sponsor particular programs, and that's just it. After the program, everybody moves forward. There's so the main thing there is, okay, so awareness. There's no particular end goal that might drive to maybe curating or getting new audience into their business, or maybe opening of accounts or anything at all. Sponsorship just deals heavily with exposure. The audience are experiencing it there, and then moving forward. Collaboration, two brands could create something campaign based, and it is very hard to scale, right? So most times two people collaborate once, or two brands collaborate just once, and then there's just nothing else anymore, right? Or they do something together for once, and then there's just nothing else happening. No other form of partnership, no other form of communication, nothing. It just ends there. While strategic partnership, where what we are going to speak about today, is basically an ongoing structured relationship that compounds over time. And this is where growth lives. And I'm going to give examples. Example of one partnership that stuck with me, or that stuck with me, is the Michael Jordan and I believe Nike. It grew over time. It gave both of them money. It gave both of them awareness, or it drove awareness. It drove commercial growth. It drove brand equity as well. So those three things were three ROIs from that particular partnership, right? They saw the value in Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's team saw the value in partnering with Nike, and they built something beautiful. Up until today, that particular partnership drove much more, over 1 million sales for Nike, and over basically a high-end brand equity or brand importance for Michael. So that's basically how partnerships work. Partnerships, the end goal for partnership is to literally drive growth, right? Either growth can mean anything for either business or either brands. It could mean audience growth. It could mean awareness growth. It could mean commercial growth, maybe money or anything at all. But strategic partnerships means that if you're going into strategic partnership or a strategic partnership, it means that the value that both of you are combining is going to end up either putting money in your pocket or driving brand equity for either of you, right? And also, it's going to bring your both audience, or it just means that I have this particular audience and I'm looking to attract this other particular audience, and I want them to come together and build something beautiful for me. So that's basically the aim of strategic partnership. My little note says strategic partnerships are not marketing tactics, they are distribution agreements. The question is, what audience am I reaching that I couldn't reach efficiently on my own? So, which I had said earlier on, that's basically you bring in your own audience and they bring in their own audience, or you see that this particular audience is what I need to capture. How do I then capture them without going through all the rigorous ways of the other forms of marketing? So with that, you're looking for a partner that already has that audience to collaborate or partner with. Let me not use collaborate, partner with. So an example would be brands that partner with communities just because they want to get they want to get in touch with, maybe say, the Gen Zs or the millennial. They partner with any community at all, or any community that has that particular audience already, and instead of them trying to rebuild or build or start afresh or start from the top of building that community by themselves, because it takes a lot to build a community. So what they do is they tap into that community and then curate a partnership that aligns for both of them, and that gives value to that community while it also brings value for them. Next slide, please. So I have something that I came up with, which is the reactive brand syndrome. So the reactive brand syndrome is when brands, instead of thinking long term already, they react to every trend. They want to, just do things immediately just because they're seeing other people do it. So instead of taking proactive actions, they're taking reactive actions, which does not work for partnerships. When it comes to marketing, when it comes to building partnerships, you should have already envisioned where your brand would love to be, maybe say at the end of the year, or at the end of a quarter, or at the end of a half year, and you say, okay, these certain type of partnerships would help me achieve that particular business goal or business objective. And I said no framework. So responding to proposals as they arrive, no evaluation, no criteria, no strategy. That is how a reactive brand responds to partnership. One of these, a collection of activations instead of a compounding portfolio, no defined metrics, vague promises, extraction mindset, negotiations optimized for short-term gain rather than shared long-term value. So when it comes to partnerships, you have to really sit down and understand what you really want to gain from it. What does your brand stand to gain, and what does the other brand stand to gain, right? So with that, you're able to curate or craft out a proper proposal that would align both with your audience and their audience, right? And then there's a framework. So for example, whenever I go into rooms and whenever I go to speak with partners, right, I do a little research first. of the brand. What have they been doing? What marketing activities have they been carrying out? What is lacking? What is that thing that they're also trying to achieve that my company can help them solve? Before I then curate a bespoke proposal for them. I don't just go into rooms and tell them, oh, I want to partner with you, oh, come and do this with me. No, it's not all about me. When it comes to partnerships, it is all about the next person, right? Because you do not sell to partners, or how would I put it? Every partner would always ask you, what is in it for me? Everybody wants something in it for everything, right? So whenever you're thinking about partnerships, you have to have a framework. It is not a one-off deal. No, it's not. Strategic partnerships are long term. It could be for 1 year, it could be for 6 months, it could be for 2 years, consistently. You're looking for something that would consistently bring value back into your brand or for them, right? For example, working with Fame House Group, right? I'll just use the business as an example. When I look for partners, I don't look for partners that would just, maybe say pay me one off, or just purchase, maybe say, let me just give an example of tickets. Purchase maybe say 100 tickets or 200 tickets. When I'm speaking to brands, I'm looking at their overall marketing cycle. What is that thing that you want to achieve? Do you want to acquire customers? Do you want to drive awareness? Do you want to, is it acquisition? So when I'm putting your proposal in place, I'm not just thinking about bulk tickets now. I'm thinking about the campaigns that you run with my tickets. I'm thinking about what you could use my inventories to do. I'm thinking about how the number of audience you capture or the attention you capture, if at all you're coming into my space. I'm thinking of how you're going to own the cinema that would enable you to achieve that particular business goal or objective. So I'm not thinking about, oh, you're just coming into my space to just buy maybe say 100 tickets for that particular movie, or 200 tickets, or just putting your logo on the media wall. I'm thinking about what exactly am I going to give to you at the end that you would go back to the table and ask yourself, okay, was this a great deal or was this bullshit? I'm sorry for the language, but like, was it wrong to even invest in this? So with that, I'm not reacting anymore when it comes to trends. With that, I'm thinking ahead, of time. I'm thinking, okay, in the nearest future, or let me say in the next 6 months, 2 years, what more or what next can I offer to my partners that would make them to renew this partnership? So I don't know. Onus, do you mind if I take questions in between, or would you like for us to take questions at the end of this webinar? I think I would love if people interact with me and tell me if they understand what I've said so far, and just let me know how you would love for it to go.
Yeah, thank you so much, Francisca. It's been packed with a lot of insights so far. I think you can just go for now. I've also dropped that people can share their insights as to the questions they have and all of that in the comments and where they are joining from. So you can go for now. If there
All
is
right.
any question, I would know. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So let's move on to the next slide. So from everything I've just been saying, trust me, my slides are very, very simple. I chose not to, speak so much because it's pretty straightforward. So the next slide, we'll just be looking at the know your worth before you sit at the table. What do you bring and what do they bring? Audience, the millions reached, and in what context? What do they bring? New audience segments you don't own yet. Every partnership is meant to be looked at like that because, like I mentioned, it is value for value. Environment, 95% attention rate. So all these examples are basically based off of where I work, which is cinema. So any example, just take it like this and put it in your business and answer those questions. That's just basically it. Environment, 95% attention rate in cinema. And what do they bring? Financial contribution or in-kind value. Brand, what does alignment with you signal. Then what do they bring? Distribution channels you lack. Channels, screens, social, email, loyalty database. And what do they bring? Brand association and positioning lifts. Data, preferences, spend patterns, frequency. And what do they bring? Technology, capabilities, or data insights. So basically, what am I saying? I'm saying that before you go into a meeting, a partnership meeting, you should understand what you have in store. Why? Because it is very common in human nature to always think or believe that what my business has is much more important than what your business has, right? And unfortunately, most businesses in our climb do not know how to position properly, right? There are lots of businesses that do have assets, do have equity, and they have engaged audiences, they have customers that are loyal and advocates for them, but because they are not properly positioned, so properly positioned in the sense of maybe PR, newsworthy content going out there. Most businesses, when you then walk into a space, when you then walk into a business sitting or a partnership sitting, people would then look at you and will be like, okay, this is what I have. What do you have? So you have to first understand what you have, who you are, who your business is in that room, right? And with that, you'll be able to sit and speak and discuss evenly with your proposed partner, right? You have to know what your business can offer to the next person. It is very, very essential. When I walk into rooms, I know that I have close to over 1 million people walking into my space, undivided attention. And you even have reports or studies saying that the cinema has basically over 97% attention rate. I'm not putting it, abruptly or right, but that's basically it, right? So when I'm coming into a space speaking with a brand, I already know that I have what you need, which is attention, right? And I also have eyeballs. I have people that have undivided attention when they're coming into my space. They interact with every single thing that I put in my space. That is what your brand needs. That is basically what every brand needs. They want every audience to interact with their products. They want every audience to interact with their brand, to have a brand recall when they step out of a space. And when it comes to putting your brand in the cinema, that is basically what happens, right? Because we have people that could visit the cinema 2 or 3 times in a week, or even say once a month with their friends and family, and it is a core memory for them, right? Because it is emotionally tied. When you build memories in a particular space, I do not believe that you forget it easily. So if you interact with anybody or anything there, or any brand at all in that space, you would definitely remember it. So when I'm going into that space, into that brand partnership discussion, I have that in mind, that I'm sorry, I do have what you need. So how exactly do we work together to make this happen? Right. And because I also want to expand my reach, because I'm also looking for admissions, right? I know that the brand that I'm speaking to also has what I need. So I'm not going to speak from a place of maybe a little bit of pride, but I'm going to speak from a place of understanding what I have, what they have, and then us coming together to build an outstanding value for both our audiences, right? It could be anybody at all. So when I speak to banks, I know that banks have a large audience base, which I want to tap into. But at the same time, I also understand that they might not necessarily want to spend all the money in the world just because they want to drive loyalty or a reward system for their audience. So I then look at, okay, what next? I know they will also want to still capture some audience or open some accounts in that aspect. And with that, I'm able to speak from that level of understanding or that knowledge, and tell them, okay, this is what I bring, this is what you bring, how then can we work together? So the main thing is know your worth before you sit at the table. You have to understand your business, you have to know your audience, you have to know the channels, you have to basically know the nitty-gritty of your business before you go into a space to speak about partnering with anybody. It's been done before, it's not something new. We have the likes of Disney and Pizza that partnered together to produce movies, just because they aligned and they felt like, okay, we could capture much more audience with this. We have the likes of Lego and Star Wars partnering together, just to build that stronger community. So many examples just like that. And with that, they were able to drive long-lasting business effects and business development for each brand. We can move to the next one, Onus. Now, the REACH framework. So you could use this to find and qualify the right partners. Reach says, do they have access to an audience I need at meaningful scale? Engagement says, how active is that audience, paying attention or just scrolling past? Alignment says, do our brand values, audience profiles, and commercial goals overlap? And commercial says, is there a clear upside, revenue, cost efficiency, or distribution advantage? And Hello says, what brand association do I gain from being seen alongside this partner? So partnership is something that at the end, like I said earlier on, must have a definite ROI, must have a definite definite metrics, or something that you're trying to achieve, right? And it could not necessarily mean that you want to access an audience. It could also mean you want to reward your audience, or you believe that if you capture this particular audience, there will be something more. It could mean anything, right? But the truth is, whoever you're going to partner with should have an active audience. It is very important. You cannot partner with someone that does not align with your business goal or does not have an audience that is even willing to engage with whatever they are doing, right? So that is why you would see the likes of, maybe say, Uber partnering with maybe Spotify, or Liquid Death partnering with Spotify, just to drive engagement, just to drive advocacy, just to drive loyalty. At the end, what we are doing with partnership is much more than, it's still within marketing, it's still within marketing. It's still to build brand equity. It is still to build brand value. So with this framework, you'll be able to ask yourself if this particular business is the right business to partner with. For me, when I want to partner with communities, I ask myself, this community I'm going to partner with, would they most likely bring money in at the end? How do I activate them for maybe a particular movie that would, allow them to not just enjoy that movie, but also enjoy the experience? And how would they rate me when they step out of my space? How do I activate? Would I activate them for reviews? So when you look at it, you are seeing that, oh, I'm giving them value, they're also giving me value. Value could mean monetary value. The other value could mean driving awareness for a particular movie. And for them, it could mean a place that they could hang out for free. They could hang out to, create memories and enjoy themselves. With that, I'm also weighing, okay, is it cost effective? Am I optimizing cost? Am I speaking to the right community there and then? So with this framework, you are able to picture the right partner for your business. And it is very, very essential that you look outward. Don't always wait for partnerships to come to you. If not, you will get tired of sieving out the ones that do not align with your business goals and objectives. You must always sit down with your team and ask yourselves, what partnership would drive this particular objective. So it is not, you don't necessarily always have to go the hard route of maybe running ads. You don't necessarily have to go the hard route of maybe say using influencers. Partnerships can drive customer acquisition for you. Partnerships can also drive brand awareness, brand advocacy, brand loyalty. Because I mean, if maybe say a cinema partners with Uber, right, to give discounts off to their customers when coming to a particular location, that alone would rewire the would basically create brand recall and would also drive brand advocacy or loyalty. Because I mean, if I'm going to be having discounts off when I'm going to that particular cinema almost every week, I would not choose another cinema. That cinema will be like my number one cinema whenever I want to enjoy a movie or whenever I want to step out of the house, right? So you can use this framework to find and qualify the right partners, and always look outward. Don't always wait for partnerships to come to you, or try as much as possible to look outward. So I think we can go to the next slide. So I have 5 red flags in partnership proposals: unverified valuations, missing KPIs, one-sided terms, the "will figure it out" clause, and non-complementary audiences. I've basically been speaking about it. I've basically been speaking about it. Your audiences can be complementary or should be complementary when you're looking at partnerships, right? You can't go left while your partner is going right and expect to come together. Both of you should have at least 1 or 2 things in common that you would love to, bring together. Be it maybe the segment of the audience, maybe say you're looking to target Gen Zs and you're going to partner with communities that already have that Gen Z in question. Maybe say you're in the entertainment scene, you can partner with party communities. You can partner with book clubs because there are a lot of books being adapted into film. So maybe for that particular movie, you're going to look for a book club that would read that book and then come watch the movie and maybe do a proper review of that movie and weigh it in and do like okay, this is what happened in the book. Did they show it properly in the movie? How was it? And also encourage their audience to go watch the movie and speak about it. With that, you're driving awareness for the movie. You're also bringing in much more money for that particular movie. You have to figure it out before a partnership is closed. You cannot run partnerships on "we'll figure it out." Partnerships are long term, so it means that the vision is already there. You already know 1, 2, 3 steps ahead. You already know what you want to achieve. You already know how you want to build it out. In fact, it is already built out before you even go to look for that partner, right? You cannot figure it out in the partnership or during the partnership, right? And yes, partnership is equal. It is not a one-sided term, right? Everybody must enjoy from the partnership benefits. And like I've always said, or I've been saying, is there must be KPIs for each partnership. There must be metrics. There must be what you are trying to achieve. And then all your business, everything about your business, everything about maybe say media, every single thing about your business must be properly accounted for, must be properly written. And you should also know the same thing for your partners or your proposed partners, because without that, then there's literally no partnership. It means that you both do not understand your businesses. It means that you both do not know your businesses. It means that you both might just be working on guesswork, right? So yes, so next one, please. Next slide, please.
Thank you so much, Francisca.
Okay, so yes, this is it.
Yeah, there's
Actually,
a question.
sorry.
Yeah, there's a question
Okay.
in the yeah. Let me just display the question. Um, yeah. So the question it says, is this a hit or miss framework? I'm asking if it's possible that the potential partner does not meet all of the rich criteria that you just mentioned, of course, but still a good partner. So we used to say this partner is a good partner to like partner with and drive growth for both brands if they are not able to meet all of the criteria you mentioned in the reach. So let me go back to that slide. Yeah.
Okay. Let me answer that. So
Okay.
it is a framework, right? Which means that you can also build your own framework, right? But this is basically what I work with. And if you see in the notes below, there's a grading, right? So maybe 1 to 5, you grade it. If maybe say a partner meets say 4 out of 5, of course the partner is a good partner. It's not cast in stone. Let me not put it as cast in stone. Let me put it as a framework that can guide you into choosing the right or correct partner in the nearest future. Let me just put it at that, right? Because this is something that I work with. This is something that just helps me to focus on those that I know that, okay, this person has this, or this person has answered some of the questions that I've asked myself about this business, and it's good to go for me, right? So I don't know if I did answer that question right.
Yes, you did actually. Thank you so much. I just wanted to also just jump in before we move to the next slide. So for these red flags that you mentioned, I think for me, from the discussion we've had so far, it's been clear to me now that partnership is not just I pay an influencer, or I work with a brand to um, collaborate with a brand to push what benefits me without considering what also benefits the brand I'm working with. And of course, I also picked on the fact that when you are partnering, you need to think of the value you are getting from the partner. For instance, oh, I'm partnering with brand B, they have a certain audience, just like the banking sector you mentioned. They have a lot of data that you will not have as someone in the media and entertainment space. So you want to buy into that audience and you partner with them. I think those are very strong points that I've been able to pick out, because I think for most brands they are looking at partnership to be a money exchange for value, right? Not really a value exchange.
Mhm.
And for that reason, there's always the issue of, oh, I paid you X amount of naira or dollar, but the result I'm getting is not really adding up in terms of maybe revenue and all of that. And again, another thing stood out for me in terms of looking at partnership as a long-term thing rather than a short-term quarterly thing that you want to just maybe drive sales in the next quarter because you're under pressure, you want to meet certain revenue benchmarks. So I just want to say thank you for clarifying all of those.
You're welcome. And I also wanted to, chip in something. So
Okay.
there's also what we do in my own environment, which we call barter for barter, right? Where it doesn't necessarily need to be monetary value. Yes, quantified under money, but it doesn't necessarily need to be monetary value. It could be products, it could be anything at all, right? But partnerships should not entirely be looked at as, oh, giving me money for something. It could be that we are exchanging, maybe say I'm partnering with an organization that understands, that does maybe say market research, right? That does market research. I'm partnering with that organization to do an audience analysis of my own audience, and they're able to tell me what the market says or what my audience behavior is saying, and then in return I'm maybe giving them maybe 50% payment, and then maybe say they want tickets, in exchange. So they're also giving me value and I'm giving them value. So it doesn't necessarily need to stop. The bulk of it doesn't necessarily need to stop at just offering me money. It could be that you want brand awareness for like a very long period of time. So in exchange for that, I tell you, okay, these are the products you have. I don't mind using your products for my premieres. I don't mind you coming into my premieres to do maybe say some activations for like 6 months. And with that, I'm also giving you inventories to advertise your products. That's also a great, form of partnership. With that, we are both exchanging value, but not just money, right? Not just money. Yes, they are both quantified under, you can pay for them, but I mean, I'm also in exchange, instead of money, you're giving me something that I need at that particular point in time. So that's basically what I wanted to chip in. So don't always think about it as just money. It's not just money. It's not just partnerships, doesn't necessarily need to be about money. I would also give an example of that. Maybe let's give an example of Michael Jordan and Nike, when Nike wanted to go into the sports space and everything. So Michael already had this, so that Michael already had the audience, the followings, the star power, and with that they jumped on it, and I mean it just blew up, right? And both of them are making money even up until today.
Thank you so much, Francisca, for giving
You're
some more
welcome.
insights into that. Yeah.
Okay, so the 6 non-negotiables in any partnership agreement, we've basically been saying and speaking about it, which is scope definition, exactly what is delivered or what is going to be delivered, by whom, by when. So there's zero ambiguity. Value assignment, what each party contributes with clear methodology, not brand exposure, give it a number. Performance metrics, accountability mechanism, exclusivity clauses, if there are any, and exit terms. So these are like the 6 things that I look out for or always put in my contract, if at all, in any partnership agreement. You cannot miss it, because you do not want a situation where the partner is coming back to review what has been done or what is to be done, and it doesn't say, and and everybody is confused as to what was meant to be given, or what was meant to be the result of that partnership. So for every partnership contract, you must have all of this defined in your agreement. It is very essential that the legal team does this agreement, and it is not just anybody crafting it out. It is very, very essential. So you must be clear with your scope. What is that thing that is to be delivered or to be done? What is the value assignment? What are both parties bringing to the table? The performance metrics. What is that? What defines success for that partnership? Who is reporting to who? How often? Who do we speak to when there's an issue? Who speaks to us when there's an issue? Would there be an exclusivity clause? There are some partnerships that that are exclusive, right? And with that, you're not able to do the same thing with another brand. So you must be very clear. And what are the exit terms? What would happen if at the end, how do you want to end this particular partnership or that particular partnership? So these are like my 6 non-negotiables in any partnership agreement. And like I've always said, think 2 steps ahead. No matter what, you must always think 2 steps ahead. You must always think about every scenario before putting down a partnership agreement. What if technology fails? What if a staff that is meant to control a particular thing leaves? What if the money is not completed? What if a new chairman comes on board and cancels it out? You must always think 6 steps ahead and cover every single thing in the clauses when putting down a partnership agreement, to avoid problems, to avoid resentment, to avoid fights, to avoid confusion. So that is that. Okay, so this is just an activation space, basically how to know when to how to activate a partnership. A partnership signed is not a partnership activated. Why activation fails? No internal champion on either side, confusion on who owns which deliverable, no launch timeline agreed at signing, the deal is handed to a team that doesn't understand the terms, activation feels bolted or not built into the experience. So the success of every partnership is in its activation and execution, right? A partnership is complete or successful when activation goes as planned or when execution goes as planned. Without that, then your partnership agreement has failed. So what are your activation checklists? Assign one named owner per side, lock a specific launch date plus channels, define the customer experience end to end, agree how both parties communicate to audiences, and set your 30-day milestone before day one. So all of this would happen after your MOUs have been signed, after all legal steps have been, all your T's have been crossed and all your I's have been dotted. So when it comes to activation, every single checklist must be marked, because one thing can soil a great partnership or a good partnership relationship. And it is very essential that your partners are pleased with you and pleased with what you are doing. So it is very essential that you are efficient in activating and executing any partnership that is signed within your business. The next slide, please. Right, believe that. Yes. So for this, we've been speaking about, how would I put it? We've basically been speaking about every single thing that could come out of a partnership, right? And we've gone through all the little phases, the non-negotiables, the how to look out for a great partner, maybe a framework that could work for your business. We've also looked at how partnership works and what partnership really is. So measuring it, we're looking at awareness, engagement, and then commercial. So these examples comes from my own background, my own, so you can use it and just put it in your own business, in your own space, and then, rate it, right? So for awareness, how many people saw this? Impressions and reach, brand mentions, share of voice. For engagement, are they actually responding? Redemptions and activations, click-throughs, dwell time. And then for the commercial, which is the conversion, what did it drive? Did it drive tickets? Did it drive leads? And did it contribute to your revenue directly? Right. So these are like the three levels that you could look at for your partnership. Like I mentioned earlier, most businesses will come to the cinema for awareness. They will come to the cinema for maybe say to drive loyalty or rewards program. Then while for us in the cinema, we'll want to maybe drive tickets, we want to also build a new audience through the audience of that particular business that we are attracting or we're going to partner with. So these are like the three. Like I mentioned, it is a part of marketing. It is still part of marketing because you want to either drive awareness, you want to drive or grow engagement, and you also want to bring in money or optimize cost. Either which way, partnerships solve either of these problems. So you don't necessarily always need to go through the route of digital ads or influencer marketing. Partnerships can also drive awareness. Partnerships can also build engagement and grow engagement. Partnerships can also bring in or drive revenue growth as well. So for me, on my own aspect, my own partnership is basically to drive revenue growth and also create awareness, right? Because when I go to my partners, I want to sell tickets, I want to drive awareness of my cinema to their faces. I want to have them recall my brand and always remember that okay, this cinema is the cinema to go to if they want to hang out or do anything at all. But you can look at your partnerships that whichever one you want to go into, do they drive any of these things? Do they bring them in, or is it that you are losing out on any of these things if you go into that partnership? So these are like my three core ROIs when I look at any partnership at all.
Yeah, thank you so much, Francisca. So I have a question here which I'm going to display and also read it out so that you can just address it. Yeah.
No
So
problem.
let me display.
Sorry. Where's it?
Yeah. So I'm displaying in a moment.
Okay.
Yeah. So what if my brand doesn't have a large audience? So how do I approach partners with value when my brand is a startup with little audience and customer base?
Okay, so it's all like I mentioned from the onset, you have to understand what your business, is all about. There are little businesses that partner with other businesses, whether they have a large audience or customer base or not, right? You would see some influencers that partner with or you see some small businesses. Let me use this example. I know of a small business, I think Sia, was it Sia or so? She partnered with an influencer to basically during their pop-up show. No, let me not give that example because the influencer has to be big, right? I'm trying to remember. I know that I've seen something like this, just to give you an example and not kill your joy, right? Because it's not necessarily about the quantity of your audience. It is about the value that your audience have, right? So when it comes to partnerships, it is what your audience, what you have as an audience, right? That the value that your audience would give to the next person, or the value that your business would give to the next person. That's what you take to the table. It is not how large my audience is. It is not how small my customer base is. It is okay. This is what my business is offering. I have maybe say I have a small business that sells clothes, right? And you see an influencer or a user generated content creator that has a following and a nice physique for a model, and you say, oh hi, I'm a small business owner, I do not have as much budget for this particular thing that I wish to do, but I wish to push my business to your audience. How about I give you some of these clothes that you would be wearing for free, if you can afford it, if your business can afford it, for free, and you wear it for me, and all I just need for you to do is for you to tag me, and we could run this for over 1 year. So now you're not going to paint it as that. What you're going to sell is that, oh, I would love to increase the beauty of your wardrobe, or I would love to dress you for a year, right? And with that, that person could think about it. Oh, I have free clothes for like a year, or I will be having a change of wardrobe for like a year. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't need that? And all I just have to do is to tag this business that we have a lot of them doing it. There are so many influencers that don't get paid to wear clothes these days. All they get is they get PR packages from that particular business. They put it on, they wear it, and they tag the business, and the business is fine. It's all dependent on what you want to achieve. It's all dependent on the value that you are bringing to the table. It's not a matter of how large your audience is. Yes, most businesses would look for that, but most other businesses would not. What they want is that, oh, I would love to maybe push engagement, or I would love to drive leads, right? Because as far as your audiences are engaging or engaged to your business, they will also engage in whatever partnership that you bring on your page or to them, right? It could also be a discount off to the next business partner, right? You could tell them that, oh, I could give your own customers 20% off if they come to my space. And I mean, that's a partnership. right? So it's not even about how large your audience is. It is the value that you want to offer to the next person and what value that next person is going to, bring to you, right? So yes, I hope I answered that question.
Yes, you did. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, so this next slide I would use to some sort of close this particular webinar is build a portfolio, not a pipeline. So for I it's three, right? Anchor, core, and emerging. So your anchor is your major long-term strategic partners, which are deeply integrated, has the highest investment of time and resources. So whenever I'm looking at partnerships, I do not just think of my high-end partners, right? I don't think of my high-end partners. I also look at my core, my middle partners, and then the low ones, the emerging ones, those ones that can just spend a few naira, a few minutes of naira. Then the middle ones, the ones that, okay, yes, they do activations and all of that. It could also drive what I want to drive. And then the heavy ones, maybe the telcos, the banks, stuff like that. So whenever you're looking at partnership and how you want to build maybe your business or the growth level, you can divide them into different levels or different categories that would enable you to expand your horizon. So it is not just going to be, because as much as Nike did with Michael Jordan, I'm sure they also did with other smaller athletes and other sports persons, in different, aspects of building partnerships. So for me, I don't just look at the banks. I also look at FMCG brands. I also look at some corporate brands or corporate organizations, startups, NGOs, just, to bring them together to build a portfolio of brands that I want to partner with. So do not always have your eyes set on one thing when it comes to partnerships. Anybody could partner with you and give you or curate, and you could curate a wonderful value. You could create wonderful value for your audience. I'm not saying partner with anybody. I'm not saying partner with everybody. Sorry. I'm saying that when you look at, maybe say, the framework I had earlier mentioned, you craft out the audience you're looking to target, you craft out the value that you have to offer. You then look at, okay, if I partner with this person, that means this is high end. If I partner with this person, this is mid level. If I partner with this person, this is maybe say a lower kind of partnership that would not exert as much pressure as the high end would exert on my business. So with that, you can even start from emerging, right? That's the pilots, the low commitment partners, right? And just build it up, right? Depending on how much pressure your business can take at a particular time, or maybe say your human resource available at that particular time. But just know that you are building a portfolio of people or of brands that once they bring in that value that they have into your business, it catapults your business to the next level. So that's basically how to build a portfolio. So I think that, I don't know if Onus is there. Yes, the last but not the least slide is the 7 principles of partnerships that convert. Value for value is non-negotiable. Just as I've always said, both parties must walk away richer. Qualify before you commit. A bad partnership is more expensive than none. Think 2 steps ahead. Structure today's terms for tomorrow's reality. Partnerships are relationships first, contracts second. Activation is where strategy meets execution. Assign ownership. Measure everything from day one. Undefined success becomes disputed failure. And build a portfolio, not a pipeline. Strategic diversity compounds over time. So this is just a combination or a compilation of everything that I have been saying. It's very essential that it is value for value. You must qualify before you commit. You must think 2 steps ahead. Your partners are you must build a relationship with your partners. You must activation is where strategy meets execution. You must measure everything from day one, and you should build a portfolio, not a pipeline.
Yeah,
And then
thank
I think my final slide.
yeah. Please continue.
I have one more slide. Yes, no, I'm just saying I have one more slide to go, which is my closing remark. Can just move it. Yes, so partnerships don't just open doors, done right, they are the doors to distribution, to audiences, to growth you couldn't access alone. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much, Francisca. This section has really, really been um, insightful and, of course, very, very packed with a lot of information. Personally, I've learned a lot of things. I'm not a brand leader like yourself. I'm a growth person. But of course, um, strategic brand building and partnership is also very crucial, just like you mentioned, to overall marketing efforts. And of course, that also translates to growth. So I want to say a very big thank you to you, Francisca, for taking out the time to enlighten us this evening. I have a question for you. I know you've done a speed run for 1 hour, but please let me just have this question up. So it says, how do you handle a partnership that is underperforming mid-term? That can cause a lot of you know back and forth with the two partners. How do you handle that kind of situation?
Okay, so basically, I think I already answered this question. The first, what you just need to do is have someone accountable on both sides, right? And you can call up a quick intervention for this particular partnership, right? You do not wait for it to go through. You can you can call up an intervention for it. Why? Because you, like I mentioned, before you sign a contract, you must build a relationship. Because you've built a relationship with your partner, it means that you can pick up your phone and say, oh wow, I am noticing that this isn't working, or this is underperforming. So how do we correct it? How do we how do we make it better, right? And I love this question because it means that you already know the KPIs that you would love to that you're targeting, and then your expected ROI from that partnership. That's why you already know that it is underperforming. So with that, you're able to then call up your partner and tell your partner that how we are handling this at this particular time means that we might not be able to reach our destination or our goal. So what then do we correct? What then do we move away? What then do we add to make it better? And please, it is very important that in partnerships there's an open door policy, right? It is not a must that you must always send emails. No, as far as you have your partner's contacts, please call your partners, please speak to your partners, please communicate. It is very essential that you communicate during partnerships to avoid resentment, to avoid your partners not coming back or you not going back to them. So how do you handle that? Please, it is by communicating, it is by outrightly calling out what is underperforming in that partnership. It is very much okay to put a stop to it and tell your partners that, oh, I noticed this, how do we tweak, how do we get better, and then make it work. So yes, I hope I answered that question.
Yes, you did actually. Thank you so much, Francisca, for taking out the time to walk us through what strategic partnership is about and how that helps to grow brands in terms of revenue, in terms of user base, whatever the core metrics is for the brand that made them go into such partnership. We are very happy that you took out the time to be here. Um, so if you are just joining, we've spoken a lot, but definitely we have this section recorded. So we are going to send it to all those that registered for the section via mail. For those on the webinar WhatsApp group, we're also going to reach out to you with a link. For those on LinkedIn, also, we are going to be sending it on LinkedIn comments so that you can follow through from our post that we'll make. But of course, we already have the live event on LinkedIn. You can always go back there and watch the section over again. So we've had the pleasure of Francisca Udechukwu speaking to us, who is the brand and partnerships manager for FIMHAS Group. And we have been so enlightened with what it means to really strategically partner with brands and even individuals, whether you are partnering with an influencer or you are partnering with a brand, and of course, the importance of also partnering, across board with different industries, just to also be able to tap into their audience segments that you currently do not have. One thing also stood out for me, which is for partnership, you must have clear, defined terms. So it means always have a contract. Don't say, oh, I know this person in the other brand, and you just go into a verbal partnership. So please always have a contract, a legal binding document that you both can come back to, um, not because you are pessimistic that the partnership will not go as planned, but because that is what you need to do as a corporate body to also protect the firm you are working with and also protect yourself. So Francisca, before you go, please can you just take this question in 1 minute, please? Sorry. So you're saying what specific results or metrics have you seen from your most successful partnerships in the last 12 months? And what made those collaborations convert better than others?
Okay, so I will just speak about the partnership I've had or I had with a bank that I would just say that it brought in money. Let me just say that it brought in money. What made it convert better was because we were very intentional with ensuring that our API integration worked perfectly for that partner. In fact, they renewed, um, and over time, we had to also look inwards for us. We had to also look inwards and ask ourselves if at all we want long-standing partners, what better way do we handle some of these requests that come to our table or some of the things that we wish to achieve with them. And because they are paying a whole lot of money, we do not want to soil it. So when that partnership was signed, there was a lot of, or before it was even signed, we had a lot of other brands that wanted to jump on that kind of partnership, but it couldn't work because there was a lot of hiccup. But eventually, it was figured out, and the API integration for the business worked out perfectly, and we ensured that at every point in time that that partner called on us, we were outrightly available to answer every question, available to track properly, available to communicate with the partner if there were any issues from our own back end, right? So what I'm just saying is, if your partner is bringing in money for a certain thing, communicate properly. Communicate properly. Set up every single system that you need to achieve success for that partnership. Set it up properly and accurately and efficiently. Have someone that would always sit on it. Do not basically give it to someone that would be in charge, right? And that would be in constant communication with the partner. So that was basically what really helped. So I'm answering vaguely because it is company information that I do not wish to spill, but just know that we're able to tighten up the ropes through communication, through efficient technology setup, and through having someone stand in the gap that we had noticed earlier.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Francisca. We really appreciate your time. Of course, we are not going to be taking any more questions. If you have any further questions, um, please do well to reach out to Francisca directly. You can reach out to her on Instagram at Amaka. You can also reach out to her brand handle at Brandly Amaka on Instagram. And of course, you can reach out to her on LinkedIn. Francisca Chiamaka Udechukwu is her name on LinkedIn. Of course, you can also reach out to me, the host, on Instagram on News Digital, and for my company at XC Global HQ. For LinkedIn, my name is Onuwabhagbe or Omodiagbe. You can reach out to me as well. We want to appreciate everybody that's taking the time to attend this webinar. Of course, we'll be having a series of webinars even in the coming weeks and months with different speakers. And of course, we are also hoping that Francisca will do us the honor of coming back for some of those webinars. Just
Yes,
before we
yes.
go, we have, yeah, thank you. So just before we go, we have a feedback form that will take you 60 to 120 seconds to fill out. So please do that. We'll also send it via email and via WhatsApp to those that attended this section so that you can share us your feedback. And of course, that will also help us improve this section better. For the upcoming sections we'll be having. Of course, we'll also use the information you share to also develop new topics because we really want to speak to topics that you are interested in. So the feedback form has been shared. I want to say again, thank you so much, Francisca, for taking out the time to walk us through this 1 hour plus section. And we are very, very grateful to have you today. Thank you, Francisca. Any parting words for us? You know, we at this time, we are your students. Any parting words?
Okay, so I would just say that I'm open to partnerships and other form of collaborations from you and your businesses and for everyone listening as well. And I'm also open to maybe say teaching or enlightening anybody that has any further questions. Thank you very much for having me. It was an honor to be here to speak with you and your audience. And I'm looking forward to much more webinar series from you. Thank you.
So much, Francisca, for taking out the time and for the efforts you also put in, back end to also help us push this webinar. Definitely, the doors are open. We'll definitely bring you back for other section. And of course, if you want consultation services, you can reach out to Francisca. She is a brand leader to the call, and this section just speaks to the expertise and years of experience she has in her field. And of course, if you need any marketing services, or you need hiring for marketing professionals and or training, you can reach out to XC Global Limited or reach out to us via Instagram. We'll be willing to attend to all of your queries. So at this time, we are going to close the section, and we are wishing you a very good weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.